fishing in about 8-10 feet of water. I'll give this a shot first. Just using a small jig under a slip bobber. First cast. That's a promising start. And he's gone. Alright, so I'm just using a slip bobber jig with a crawler. I'm just casting out on this weed line here. It's about 5-6 feet deep over there, I believe. I'm like 3.5 feet down. But catching decent sized one. We got another little guy. One's at a pretty good rate, so I think I'm gonna keep a few for dinner. So I got this guy on a stringer here. Feels like a decent one. Oh yeah. That's a nice one. Look at that. $9.25. As you can see on the Vexlar, it's about 7 feet deep, I guess, 8 maybe, and it looks like there's fish stacked up there. So I just tear one of these guys in half. Using 6-pound mono with a 6-pound floral or 4-pound floral leader at the end. Going through a lot of worms. They like to steal them. Alright, I'm losing worms very fast. I do know there's crappie minnows or crappies in here, so I got these fake crappie minnows. This one's a little big. I'll give that a shot. And I also got another rod that I'm going to use for the bluegill. It's a smaller jig, so I'm hoping they don't steal it as easy. Immediately. Oh, terrible hook set though. Alright, so I got 3 keepers. The last one I just caught was on this micro series Shakespeare rod. I think it's 4-pound test that I got on here. And again, just a little jig. And then I put a little bit bigger of a fake minnow over there. So I did get one nibble on it. I know there's perch and walleye in here too. I don't think I've ever open water fished this. I've ice fished it many times. This one feels good, but everything feels good on this tiny little rod. Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a nice one. Oh, come here. That's the biggest one yet, I think. That's not something to complain about. Alright, what do we go with here? These pontoon boats keep coming up to me and turning around. I think it's because I got a GoPro strapped to my forehead. They're probably thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? There we go. He's small. It's funny how big they feel on this little rod. That's what she said. Alright, we got something on the pig minnow. It's a bluegill. Holy shit. That's a big bluegill. Oh, my reel is screwed up. Holy shit. How did he swallow that thing? Look at this. Usually you don't see bluegill go for that. Okay, I think we got a nice haul here. So I do like this kayak though. It's got a ton of room. It's got this nice seat. Got a compartment right here. I like to bring my Vexlar obviously for a fish finder, but you could do something, you know, smaller that's made for a kayak. And I just keep my tackle box up here, and I have everything roped to the deck, so in case I do flip, hopefully it wouldn't go anywhere. It's got a fishing rod holder. Also made this anchor line that I can move. I can slide it. It's on a trolley from the front to back, and then, you know, my anchor's tied in there. So I also have a crate on the back here that holds my other rods and my net and stuff. It's a nice little kayak. Definitely easier to get in and out on these little lakes where you can tell there's not a lot of boats. The public launch, you can't even launch a normal sized boat. So there's not a lot of pressure on these little lakes. Okay, this is hard to tell what this is, but it's by far the biggest fish yet. Actually, it might be, nope, he's stuck in the weeds, I think. Oh, this is something big. What is this? It's just on the bottom. I can't move it. I mean, it's definitely a fish. Here he comes. What is this? Oh, it's a bluegill with a million weeds on it. Felt like the world record bluegill there. That's a nice one though. Alright, he's gonna be the last one I'm keeping. Alright, I'm gonna pull anchor. Alright, I got a can for size. We got 7 of these guys I'm going to clean up. And I'm going to pan fry them. Okay, so what I like to do is fillet these guys. And like I said, a lot of people like to scale them and, you know, gut them and kind of do it whole, but if they're big enough, they don't have to be huge, then you can fillet them. So what I like to do, make sure you have a freshly sharpened fillet knife. It's got to be sharp. I like to use the tip of it for doing most of the work. So what I do, right behind that fin, cut down to the spine, and then using the tip of the knife, follow the spine. And it takes a little longer this way to do it, but that's fine. I like to get all the meat I can. So then I kind of just peel it back and follow the spine and the rib bones all the way down. Try and get as much of that meat as you can. So there's the rib bones, so I just cut down. Keep going. It's definitely more time consuming. Then once you get to this part, kind of just push the knife through. Try not to hit the guts. Follow it down. My hand's probably in the way. See if I can do it this way. Follow it down. Then you can flip it over. And normally I do the other side before I fillet it all the way, but just for demonstration purposes, push it down, make sure it's flat against the cutting board so you get all the meat. There you go, and you have a fillet. It's not the biggest fillet in the world. This is small. This is one of the smaller ones, but I mean, we have 7 of these, so 2 on each side, or 1 on each side, 14 fillets. So we got a lot of that meat. I mean, it's pretty much, there's nothing left. So it's a good way to do it. So I'm gonna flip it over to the other side and do the same thing for these guys. Alright, that was the last fillet. Oh, this is the last fillet. I saved the biggest for last. So, I mean, they're just bluegill, so the fillets aren't gonna be huge. But for a bluegill, I feel like this is pretty good. I'm happy with it. So, a decent amount of meat in here that I'm gonna rinse it off, and then I'll dry it off before I cook it, and I'll show you how I cook it, but it's basically just pan fried. Pour some oil in, be generous with this, basically deep frying it, pan frying it, but it's pretty much deep fried. put a little bit more. Oh, that should be plenty. Turn this on to medium. And while that gets warm, I'll show you how to do the fish. Alright, so what I like to do is take our fish fillets. I double bagged it because it was in the fridge for a little while. But you want to take these, they've been rinsed off, I rinsed them off. But you want to pat them dry and make sure they're dry. So I'm just going to lay them out. I'm just going to take some paper towel, pat them dry, try and soak up that water. Alright, oil's nice and hot. So we're going to take our fish fillets here, give them a coat, and then drop them in. So usually you want to do 3 to 5 minutes each side until it's cooked through. So these are about ready to flip in a second. Alright, these are done. So I'll take these off and let them dry on the plate. Look at that. We gotta cook the rest of them. Alright, wasn't perfect with the batter, but it is done. And it turned out pretty well.
Are we cooled down?
Yep.
They're good.
Like it?
Mm-hmm.
Good?
Mm-hmm.